So take us back to you were working for Adobe when you had the idea for disruptive advertising, right?
Yep.
What was happening at that time? How did it all start?
Yeah, the hot place to work at when I graduated was Omniture,
Okay.
and, I was excited to kick that off. It was right in the middle of, like, the financial crisis, and so I was excited that not only did I find something after school, but it was exactly where I wanted to be, and, the skill set that I developed there, I was a more, extrovert marketing and sales guy by nature that got a more technical degree in information systems.
Okay.
And the first few years of my career, I just helped some of the largest companies in the world integrate their marketing data with
Sure.
their customer data so that we could see what was actually translating into revenue and profitability for them. And so that was like the hard skill set that I developed. And then I'm like, okay, if I'm working with American Express or John Deere or Home Depot or whatever, and like if these big companies don't even know how to do this stuff, like what's the small and medium sized business doing?
Yeah.
And so the first name of the business, I
Mm.
just thought I'd be a freelancing analytics consultant was my big entrepreneurial idea.
Nice.
Because I'm like, oh, I see the need and it's not being met for the small, medium-sized business.
Hmm.
If you get good data, you can make better marketing decisions and grow your business. So I called the business Found ROI and started that. But it was almost like an off brand of Where's Waldo because everyone's like, oh, what's Foundroy? Like, what's your business? You know? I was like, okay, I didn't nail that one. But, time and time again, I would freelance for free for, the company I worked at in college or other ones, and it would work really well. I'm like, "Here's exactly how you should spend your money." But inevitably, they would say, "That's cool. We don't have the bandwidth or even know how to implement what you're telling us. Can
Mm.
you just do that for us?" And so that's how I got into the marketing scene through data was, okay, now that the data is telling us what to do, they didn't know how to implement it. And so I just started learning how to implement those things, and that's how it went from an analytics consulting to a performance marketing agency that differentiates by getting good data as the
Yeah.
foundation.
So this is 2008. What data can you actually get, and how has that evolved over the years?
Surprisingly, way more than most businesses still get today,
Mm.
right? And so at the time, I mean, this was, you're tracking everything with, yeah, I don't want to get like overly technical, but
Yeah.
you can literally track every click, what it's leading
Yeah.
to, cookie them, get them into your system, and you can automate a lot with machine learning, automation, those types of things.
Yeah.
And, so even though AI is kinda like the buzzword right now, I feel like what most people understand AI to be today, we were doing from a digital marketing
Oh yeah.
standpoint, like, over, 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But these are, I mean, Facebook ads didn't even launch till 2013, 2011, right? So
I
were you
forget when those ones did. My kinda specialty was more on the Google side, so
okay,
Google
that's
AdWords
fine.
at the
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Okay. So you start getting these freelancing contracts. What are you charging? How does that snowball? And when do you quit your job?
Yeah. So, my first client I charged for free. The second client I charged for free. And it was more like, these are people that I love and already have a relationship with, and I just wanna help them win
Hmm.
with their business. And, both of those turned into great contracts for me. One of them turned into one of my first, clients was who I worked at in college. They became a couple grand a month to a few grand a month to a $30,000 a month contract.
Wow.
And then, one of my good, friends and contacts that I'd worked with at, Adobe had moved on, and I just helped him out for free to help him be successful in his new job. And then it ended up turning into a contract with Guitar Center as one of my first clients as well. And so it was fun to just see, I'm not doing this to try and like, I just wanna help. I just wanna see these people win because 'cause they're people I care about,
Yeah.
and then it just turned into contracts. And so I officially quit my full-time job that also turned into a client because he had a good experience with me as
Nice.
well, in, September of 2013, and I had built my book of business to about $30,000 a month of revenue.
Hmm.
And, my wife and I both grew up in very conservative, households, and so we'd actually paid off all of our debt, no mortgage, no payment on anything, had a good savings, a book of business, and I said, "Okay, if this is our time, like, this is the time."
Yeah. Did you
Yeah.
have kids at the time?
3.
All right.
Yeah, we've got 4 now.
But as far as risky goes, it wasn't super high up there as far as
Yeah.
debt,
I had a year
etc.
or 2 to, like, of buffer
Yeah.
at that point,
Nice.
which felt reasonable for for our situation.
Yeah. So once you went full time, were you like pounding the pavement trying to get more deals, or was it really growing organically at that point?
Both. Because I was personally involved with all of our clients and I did great work,
Yeah.
it was not uncommon to get referrals. And then I started going to like local networking events, just hustling. I'm an extroverted guy anyway. And so just started doing those things and found myself doing marketing for a lot of these small businesses weren't really ideal for exactly what I did, but I
Yeah.
thought it would be.
Mm.
And so I found myself working in a lot of situations that was working very well, and a bunch of others where I'm like, we're just trying to get any client we can at this
Yeah.
point, but kind of finding which ones actually worked for us and which ones didn't.
Got it.
Yeah.
And just as a like an ads marketing agency guy, I'm really interested in the deliverable you were giving to these people. So what was the secret sauce of like you're looking at, okay, click to page view to lead and then conversion, and you're really drilling into each one of those and optimizing the whole process? And who did you discover who was the ideal client during that time?
Yeah.
What were they doing in revenue, and what was the pitch to them? Like, hey, we can take you from 100 grand to 500, or did that not matter as much as the mindset of the business owner?
Yeah. At the time, I was so specialized in the service that I provided that it was paid search and some retargeting
Okay.
is all I was doing.
Okay.
Okay. And so I could go in and within 20 minutes, I did this manually for a while and then built a software that would do it for me. I could conduct an audit to determine what percentage of their advertising dollars in Google were actually driving revenue for them or not.
Wow.
And over the first number of years of the business, I had formally audited over 2,000 accounts, and on average, 76% of their budget was producing nothing for them. And that doesn't mean the other 24% was profitable.
Mm.
Okay. So I could pretty quickly show them what you're spending is not efficient and it's not working very well for you.
So it's like a high roast for Google Ads.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what we would do, and that's what would close the deal pretty well.
Nice.
Um, that audit only worked if they had sufficient data for me to look at it.
Fair.
Okay. And so like the sweet spot kind of became, hey, minimum you got to be spending 10 grand a month on your ads for us to be able to give you any sort of confidence in what we can do.
Hmm.
And our sweet spot was probably in that $10 to $50,000 a month of spend. And then we had a few large enterprise contracts that came from my personal network, but that was probably more of our sweet spot client of, hey, on Google you should be spending at least $10 to $50,000 a month, and then we'd be a good fit for you.
Yeah.
Versus like, we're trying it for the first time. We're a newer business. Let's see
Mhm.
how this goes. And those were the ones where we kept running into issues.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
churn's super high,
Yeah.
super emotional. Yeah.
Yeah. Sky high expectations, bottom level budgets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But what a pitch. Like I was just thinking about this last week. Like pitching and making sales with data is so much easier than like emotionally trying to push somebody into a decision. It's just like, hey, 75% of your dollars are literally getting flushed down the drain here.
Yeah.
So what would you pitch? Like you're like, there's a very clear problem. The fix is we're gonna optimize your pages and make sure that the keywords are optimized, et cetera. Or was there anything else in there that
Yeah.
was
Yeah. Simplistically, it was one to one to one. Are you targeting the right keywords that are driving you revenue?
yeah,
Is your ad copy matching appropriately to what they're looking for? And then are you giving them a consistent experience on the website
okay.
so that throughput is like butter, like it's
Yeah.
just easy, it makes sense. And I always think of online marketing like herding cats at
Mhm.
Walmart. You just got to make it so obvious
Yeah.
what they've got to do that they don't have to think,
Yeah.
right? And so that was typically what we were looking for. And paid search is so bottom of the funnel, someone looking to make a buying decision on average,
Yeah.
that's where we would clean it up and get that. So the expansion was, hey, I'm just optimizing your account,
Yeah.
but I don't have good pages to point people to on your website.
Yeah.
So that's when we introduced Unbounce is the tool that we would use
Nice.
and still use actually for some clients. But hey, we need to build pages that will convert the traffic that we're sending because even if we make the right optimizations and you've got a bad website experience, it's not going to work.